And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIBTV, here on livinginblack.com. My name is Keita Wadu, aka The Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together. We come at you live from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East African Time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspective, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Friday. This is the 21st day of November, the year 2025 in the Western calendar, the Gregorian calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. I have an empowering conversation for us to speak about today on Making Money Fridays. Africa's vast exclusive economic zone, EEZ, holds extraordinary future economic potential, and by 2050 is positioned to become a major driver of sustainable wealth for the continent through the, quote, blue economy, unquote, a sector encompassing everything from fisheries and shipping to marine biotechnology, ocean-based renewables, and blue carbon markets. Today, we explore the potential advantages for Africans in the U.S. developing a plan to serve as a gateway to this vast wealth for the world outside Africa. This is going to be very interesting. I hope you do stick with us. Let me turn on a little bit of light on my face, get it a little bit brighter. And let's see if that looks a little better. Yeah, it's getting that time of the year where I have to tune up my lighting a little bit. I hope I don't look too bad under the scrutiny. But it's going to be a fantastic journey. We will be taking this journey today to the best of our abilities here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. If you have any comments or any questions, please do share your comments and your questions. Your opinion does matter, really does matter, here on your favorite, we aim to be your favorite LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com. So let me just clear this last little link on my desktop. We are going to first take a look. We're going to ask this question: what is an exclusive economic zone? And here, let me place this back up. Don't remove it. Put it on the desktop. And I'm going to play this short piece of video. This is entitled, "What is an exclusive economic zone?" This is Biology for Everyone from YouTube.
What is the exclusive economic zone? Have you ever wondered how countries manage their ocean resources? The exclusive economic zone is a key part of that management. This zone extends up to 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline. Within this area, the coastal nation has special rights over both living and non-living resources found in the water and on or beneath the seafloor. This means that countries can control and utilize resources like fish, oil, gas, and minerals in this region. From a biological standpoint, the exclusive economic zone is vital because it allows nations to manage and protect marine life within their boundaries. This includes setting rules for fishing, creating marine protected areas, and implementing conservation measures to prevent overfishing and habitat destruction. Overfishing occurs when fish are caught faster than they can reproduce. This can lead to a decline in fish populations and disrupt the balance of marine ecosystems. By having control over the exclusive economic zone, countries can regulate fishing activities to ensure that marine resources are used sustainably. This helps maintain biodiversity and supports the health of marine ecosystems. In practice, the exclusive economic zone enables coastal states to monitor and limit fishing quotas. They can protect endangered species and safeguard critical habitats like coral reefs and seagrass beds. These actions are essential for maintaining healthy fish stocks and supporting the overall health of marine ecosystems. The concept of the exclusive economic zone was developed to balance the interests of coastal states with the need to protect the ocean's resources for future generations. Understanding this zone is important for anyone interested in marine biology or conservation, as it directly affects how marine resources are managed and protected. The exclusive economic zone highlights the connection between human activities, such as fishing, and the health of marine ecosystems. By managing this zone responsibly, countries can help prevent overfishing and ensure the long-term survival of marine life. This is not just about protecting fish. It is about maintaining the entire ecosystem structure and function. When we take care of our oceans, we are also taking care of ourselves and future generations.
And again, that was Biology for Everyone, a YouTube channel, which is a really nice looking channel. I did appreciate the story they put together, and we're going to build on that story, even though I wasn't necessarily a fan of the artificial intelligence voice, but hey, that's the way it is nowadays. And we're just going to begin there. First of all, I want to go into this idea of wealth. And I'm going to be talking about wealth. And I have another piece of video. In fact, let me do this, because she talked generally, vaguely about exclusive economic zones in the world. And I want to focus more on Africa. So this next short video is once again from YouTube. It is entitled, "Which Country Has the Largest EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone in the World?" Now, they're talking about which country. Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent.
Which country has the largest exclusive?
And it's expected that in the future, by the year 2063 at the latest, that's the planned date that I have seen, or I say maybe more closely to 2050, when Africa will federate, Africa will be a country. And it is projected to be the most powerful nation in the world. And we should do the best that we can to fulfill that destiny. So here is the video. It's going to last just a couple of minutes. And you tell me what you think about this plan. In fact, this video lasts about 4 minutes.
Which country has the largest exclusive economic zone in the world? Firstly, let's get some context. The Law of the Sea, which is a collection of international treaties, customs and agreements, which maintain order and peaceful relations on sea, split the area in front of every country's coastline into 3 distinct zones. Chapter 1. What is an exclusive economic zone? The first 12 nautical miles, which equates to roughly 22 kilometers or 14 miles, are a country's territorial waters. This means that the country which owns the land has full sovereignty over all aspects of these waters. The next 12 nautical miles are called the continuous zone. While this zone is already considered international waters, the governing coastal country is permitted under the Law of the Sea to exert power in the case of criminal activities such as smuggling or illegal immigration. The right of passage, however, must be granted to all innocent vessels. The 176 nautical miles beyond this line are considered a country's exclusive economic zone, or EEZ in short. In this zone, the surface is considered international waters, meaning that any vessel can freely traverse it. But the right to extract resources such as fish, fossil fuels, or the generation of energy from, for example, wind turbines, lays exclusively with the coastal country that has a claim on the land next to it. If the 200 nautical mile claim of two countries intersect, like in the example of Sumatra, which belongs to Indonesia, and mainland Malaysia, the EEZ borders meet halfway. Since the extent of a country's EEZ is strongly connected to the length of a country's coastline, it is easy to assume that countries like Australia, Brazil, or Russia have the largest EEZ. This, however, is not the case, since the coastline length isn't everything. This is perfectly shown when comparing a rather straight coastline, like for example Chile, with a small hypothetical island with a diameter of just 1 meter. The exclusive economic zone of the tiny island radiates for 370 kilometers or 230 miles into every direction and results in an EEZ of 431,000 square kilometers, despite the small land area. If a country has a straight border, however, it takes 1,164 kilometers of coastline to have an EEZ of the same size, since the zone only extends into one direction, forming something close to a rectangle. Based on this principle, countries covering many small and scattered islands with no foreign neighbors around have an incredibly inflated exclusive economic zone. This is also the main reason why the country with the largest EEZ in the world is so counterintuitive on first glance. Chapter 2. The largest EEZ in the world. Continental France shares the EEZ in the English Channel with the UK. In the Mediterranean Sea, the EEZ is cut short by Spain, mainland Italy, and the island of Sardinia, and only towards the west does France have an unrestricted zone. These three areas combined, however, only make up just slightly above 3% of France's total exclusive economic zone. The other 97% are contributed by remnants of France's colonial empire. Scattered over all of the world's oceans, New Caledonia, Reunion, St. Paul and Amsterdam Islands, Kerguelen Islands, Crotès Islands, Guadeloupe, Clipperton Island, and French Polynesia, just to name a few, give France an additional 9.8 million square kilometers of EEZ, which is 19 times larger than the land area of France itself. A close second place is taken by the US, where the Aleutian Islands, west of Alaska, take a massive share, and islands like Guam, Hawaii, and American Samoa have large EEZs due to their remoteness. Some of the islands which give France, the US, and many other countries large EEZs are not inhabited, like Tromelin Island or Jarvis Island, but these are still included in the numbers of this video. Whether uninhabited islands and reefs which protrude the water surface should give the right of an exclusive economic zone for the country claiming it has been a major cause of controversy and conflict since the adoption of these rules in 1982. But this is a question for another time. Thanks for watching, subscribe and leave a like if you want to see more like it. Cheers.
Okay. Well, that puts things into context. And it does. Now I understand why Africa does have a huge exclusive economic zone, the African continent. There are island states as well, a number of island states of Africa, but no one dare calculate the exclusive economic zone. And I guess I'm going to have to be the first one to do it for Africa. But let's just say with Africa's immense coastline, it's going to be massive. Now, I want to redirect this conversation. Let's talk about Africans across the diaspora, Africans and Africans in America. And I don't mean to be excluding my African cousins, brothers and sisters in the UK, in Canada, in the CARICOM, across the CARICOM region. No, you are included. Just for brevity's sake, I put together the figures using Africans in America as a basis. If you read the book, The African Future, Empowering a United and Prosperous Africa for Future Generations, in that book, I did deliberately and painstakingly tie us all together. Africans in North America, the CARICOM region, South America, Africans in Europe, Afro-Africans across the Australo-Melanesia, that's what it's called, And it was painstaking. And I put us all together with our 1.55 billion brothers and sisters on the African continent. So putting that together was a lot of work. With us approaching, that's approaching 1.9 billion people on this earth. And that's pretty impressive. Let's go forward though. Today we are talking about economics, and I want to put these figures together. I searched two AI search engines. One is Duck AI, and it gave me the following. Wait a minute, back up. First, I want to put up Brave AI because the Duck is a little more comprehensive. So let's begin with the simplicity. Brave AI returned the following. The current annual consumption for African Americans in the United States is projected to reach approximately $1.98 trillion by the end of 2025. Now that's consumption, that's not production, that's not GDP. That's consumption. With expectations of growth to between $2.5 trillion and $3 trillion by 2030. This figure reflects the increasing economic influence of the Black community, driven by population growth, higher education levels, and greater access to higher paying jobs and entrepreneurial opportunities. In contrast, the annual spending power of African immigrants in the U.S. was estimated at over $40.3 billion in 2015. 2015, that's a decade ago. Based on their earnings and tax contributions, though more recent aggregate figures for current consumption are not available in the provided sources. Now, Duck AI went a little deeper, although I question some of their findings. Duck AI, African Americans, current annual consumption for African Americans and foreign-born Africans in the U.S. African Americans consumption, the annual consumption of African Americans is approximately $1.98 trillion. That was the same as the Brave AI estimate. $1.98 trillion as of 2025. This represents a significant increase from previous years, showcasing both population growth and rising income levels within the community. And one second here, let me clear my throat. A notable trend is the increase in African American households with incomes of $100,000 or more, which has risen by 83% over the last decade. Their spending is driven by various sectors, especially in beauty, lifestyle products, and media consumption. They didn't say media ownership. They said media consumption. Foreign-born Africans' consumption. While specific annual consumption figures for foreign-born Africans in the U.S. are less frequently reported, several studies suggest that their purchasing power is growing substantially. The total spending capacity of all Africans in the U.S., including both African Americans and foreign-born Africans, is estimated to approach around $4 trillion annually. Let me repeat that sentence. The total spending capacity of all Africans in the U.S., including both African Americans and foreign-born Africans, is estimated to approach around $4 trillion annually, with a significant share attributable to the immigrant population. That is stunning. That's just stunning. And there's just no other way of addressing this. Let me push this up for those of you who are following along, who are interested in these things. And I understand everybody's not necessarily interested in this. It is what it is. I'm going to just take a moment here and paste these links, these little pieces that I'm pulling out, and paste these around so others can have access to them as well. Here I'm putting it up on my Facebook page right now. Bear with me. This is really worth it. Copy, enter, and I want to put this up also in a live video for today. One more time, and then we're going to be going for it. Are you in Mass today? Are you listening to us on YouTube? Are you in our Rumble family? Where are you today? We need to know that. We do need to know. Curious minds do need to know the answer. So here we go. Put that up, and here we go. We continue. Key Garrison. This is again still from Brave AI. Afri-Amers, as I call them, 1.98 trillion increased income diversity. Foreign-born Africans estimated within 4 trillion combined between Africans from America and the continent and the CARICOM Africans coming into this country from Europe. Their growing base presence and consumer base. Conclusion: both Afri-Amers and foreign-born Africans represent crucial segments of the U.S. economy with considerable consumer power. The growth in these demographics reflects broader changes in societal factors, including economic mobility and demographic shifts. As these groups continue to evolve, their consumption patterns will likely influence various industries and market strategies. Economic projections and opportunities. Now, we're going to talk now about Africa's blue economy, the global maritime economy. By 2050, Africa's maritime and blue economy could exceed $1.5 trillion annually, according to major development forecasts. Now, today, and it's not necessarily today, it has been a few months since I last did the inquiry, but the total economic activity from Africa, including its blue economy, was exceeding $3 trillion anticipated this year. And we want to keep that figure in the back of our minds, $3 trillion. Now, remember, combined consumer power of Africans, Afri-Amers, and African immigrants, the combined consumer power was estimated at $4 trillion. So I hope you see where I'm going here. We can afford Africa's blue economy. That's the bottom line. I'm going to give you the summary of today's entire broadcast right now. With the right plan, Afri-Amers and Africans in America combined, no separation at all, we could purchase the means, the mechanisms, and the education facilities to train African youth to manage in perpetuity the blue economy of the African continent. They still have access to the vast lands of the continent, which there's many, many trillions of dollars above that. Now, just under the soils of the Congo, a landlocked country, mostly landlocked. I think Congo has 37 miles or so of coastline. But the Congo itself is estimated to have $24 trillion of untapped natural resources. So let's keep it manageable. We just want to go after the blue economy. We would be the richest Americans, out surpassing the whites, the Europeans, the Chinese, and the Indians should we control Africa's blue economy? The World Trade Organization and African Development Bank project that if Africa harnesses marine resources efficiently, it could become the world's fourth largest economy by 2050. The fourth largest economy means we would surpass Japan. When we're talking about the world's largest economies today, we would surpass India. The world's largest economies are today America, and America's got such a huge debt. That's a crazy statistic to try and figure it out. America, China, and Japan are the three largest economies in the world today. Africa's 13 plus million square kilometers EEZ exclusive economic zone is rich in fisheries, minerals, and energy resources, representing a significant opportunity for job creation, trade expansion, port development, aquaculture innovation, and blue carbon revenue via global carbon markets. This is getting serious. Now, let's start to break this down a little bit. The African unions. Now, we want to talk about continental integration and strategic initiatives. We're talking about the integration of the African economy, the Continental Union. The African Union's 2050 Africa's Integrated Marine Strategy, AIMS, aims to strengthen maritime security, enhance port infrastructure, improve intra-African trade, and ensure sustainable resource management across Africa's 38 coastal and island states, 38 nations. Currently, I am projecting that it will be one nation by sometime between 2050 and 2063. The strategy is integrated with wider economic unions and frameworks like the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, providing a pathway for massive growth in regional connectivity and value-added resource processing. Key success factors and challenges. Unlocking the EEZ's full value by 2050 depends on improved governance, stronger anti-piracy measures, and then again, we are going to have to define what is a pirate, because this is a side note to call Somali fishermen who have been displaced by all of these foreign countries invading their EEZ, their exclusive economic zone. And then when the Somali fishermen attempt to chase those big boats out of their waters, they're blown out of the water and called pirates. But you know, these very same Somali fishermen, which Somalia has the largest coastline in Africa, most people don't know that. To call these Somali fishermen protecting their waters pirates is a gross and blatant lie. They call themselves the People's Coast Guard. They call themselves the Somali People's Coast Guard. So let's clear that piracy up. Unlocking the EEZ's full value by 2050 depends on improved government, stronger anti-piracy measures. Get those pirates from South Korea, pirates from Chinese fishing boats, those pirates from Europe, mafia dumping nuclear waste into Somali waters. Let's get those pirates out. Yes, I do agree. But insofar as the Somali fishermen, no, maybe we should be investing in them so they're not out there attempting to defend themselves against these powerful boats with little skiffs and the things that they use, as brave as they are. Maybe they need helicopters and need to be legitimized into a multinational anti-piracy force. Investment in port and logistical support infrastructure, environmental sustainability, and technology adoption, such as the blue biotech and carbon credit trading. And that carbon credit trading, we got to watch that, because I don't necessarily think we need to be trading off our future because of the excesses of the Europeans in wasting the world's blue water economy resources. No, they want us to bail them out. That's what this carbon credit trading is about. But I ask you, you tell me, has any trade deal with Europeans, with China, Russia, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Arab states, Indonesia, has any trade deal ever turned out between Africa and those countries I just mentioned? Any trade deal ever turned out to be fair in the long run? I see you, my brother Eddie, has just joined the conversation. Welcome, Aquaba. I hope you find this today to be a fascinating conversation. He says, yes, greetings. Great to have you with us, brother Eddie. And if there's nobody in the house today but you and me, then we're going to do it. No, there is someone else in the house. For Africa One, my beloved sister. Hotep, brother Keedy, and Global LV family just come in from the ice box of the UK rock. Well, you know something? You and I need to be, because it's getting cold here in Las Vegas now, but nowhere near what you are experiencing. But you and I need to be in the warm climate of Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Addis Ababa. It's a little cooler in Addis Ababa because it's up high in the high altitude, but we need to be in Liberia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. We need to be off the coast of Angola. We need to be in South Africa, all over our motherland. And I hope you do have an opinion on today's conversation. Let me continue. I've got so much research on the table. Let's talk about the broader. Oh, this is very important. I will talk about key success factors and challenges. The growth will be strongest where regional coordination, investment, climate, and security measures are most robust, with East African cities and major coastal economies set to outpace other areas. And you know, for the longest time, I have been talking about the East African Community, EAC. I just had a conversation in less than an hour before the program today with someone who is based in the EEC, and he is saying he's getting ready to move his operations from Nairobi to main headquarters from Nairobi to Ghana. And it's a complicated issue, but he's a very important dignitary, very, very important dignitary on the African continent. And we had a wonderful, extensive conversation. We'll have him on the air with us again in the very future, in the very near future. Let's continue. A broader impact. A thriving, exclusive economic zone, EEZ, can deliver not just economic output, but improved food security, job prospects, climate resilience, and higher living standards for millions, hundreds of millions of people. By fostering sustainable economies, Africa is set to significantly boost its share of global trade and move towards upper middle class status in leading nations by 2050. So, what are you working on? What am I working on? We have to ask the question, are we working on what will empower our people? So, in summary, Africa's giant exclusive economic zone is integral to the continent's future economic transformation. And in the right reforms, with the right reforms and investments, the maritime sector is expected to become a cornerstone of Africa's emergence as a global economic powerhouse by mid-century. So by 2050, it's going to be a major component of Africa's emergence as a global economic powerhouse. The question is, what are we going to be? Are we going to be involved in that, Ameris? If we miss that opportunity, no, there's no if. I'm taking that out. As we take advantage of that opportunity, we will increasingly wonder what the heck we were thinking about by not participating. So I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do even better to focus in on Africa's blue economy. Today, we are focused on transforming Africa's blue ocean economy, the EEZs, exclusive economic zones. Let's continue to go forward. I want to now go into an economic exclusive zone. Is a maritime area extending up to 200 nautical miles, exclusive economic zone, up to 200 nautical miles from a coastal nation's baseline, where that nation has special rights to exploit, explore, conserve, and manage natural resources. It is a cornerstone of modern maritime law, balancing national sovereignty with international navigation rights. Definition and legal basis. Established under the 1982 National United Nations Conventions on the Law of Seas, UNCLOS. Point 2. Begins beyond the 12 nautical mile territorial sea and stretches to 200 nautical miles, 370 kilometers from the coast. Point. Unlike territorial waters, where a state has full sovereignty, the EEZ grants sovereign rights only for economic purposes, not complete control over navigation or military activity. The rights of the coastal states within their exclusive economic zone, states may, number 1, exploit living resources, fisheries, aquaculture. Point 2, extract non-living resources, oil, gas, minerals. Point 3, harness renewable energy, wind, tidal, and wave power. And point 4, conduct marine scientific research with regulatory authority. Those are the rights of the exclusive economic zone states. International responsibilities. Other nations retain freedom of navigation and overflight, as well as the right to lay submarine cables and pipelines. Point 2, coastal states must manage resources sustainably and protect the marine environment. Point 3, disputes over overlapping EEZs are settled through negotiation or international arbitration. All of those established in the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS. Importance. Exclusive economic zones cover about 38 million square nautical miles, nearly 1/3 of the ocean's surface. They are vital for global food security through fisheries, energy independence via offshore drilling and renewables, and geopolitical influence, as control over EEZs often spark disputes, such as in the South China Sea right now. In summary, an exclusive economic zone is a legal maritime zone granting coastal nations exclusive economic rights up to 200 nautical miles offshore, ensuring both resource sovereignty and international cooperation. What do you think? I've gone through the research I put together today, so we're just kind of in the free zone. What do you think about those figures I put on African American consumption? Those are the highest numbers for African American consumption and our African immigrant family consumption that I've ever put together. I did neglect to include our Afro-British community, and I didn't want to do that, but it's a little crazy right now. Maybe you, for Africa One from the continent, can you give me an idea of what is your annual consumption as African people, African immigrants to UK? What is the annual pound consumption of your group? Now, it was real interesting that we talked about consumption for Afri-Amers, but I never did give you the figure. I need to update the figure on Afri-Amer production. What is the total in dollars of all combined African American, I have to spell it out, businesses in the U.S. Now, I gotta say, it's not pretty. But let's just get the answer before I apologize for it. What is the total in dollars of all combined Afri-American businesses in the U.S.? Approximately 183 billion. Consumption, 1.93 trillion. Production, 183.3 billion. That's really kind of pathetic. It's kind of sad. It's gone down. Since I calculated these numbers in Futurenomics in 2018, I estimated at that time it was approaching 200 billion. COVID-19 knocked a whole lot of businesses out of place. Let me get the total. Now, this is the first inquiry. I'm going to go with another inquiry. That one was useful. 1 second here, and I'm going to get this figure for the UK. So now we're going to put in the same prompt. What is the total in pounds of all combined African, British business in the US, the UK? So get ready for Africa One. I'm about to give you that figure. There is no single official figure for the total revenue of all African British businesses in the UK, but estimates place their combined annual contribution in tens of billions of pounds as part of the wider 74 billion generated by ethnic minority-led businesses across the UK. So apparently you don't even merit your own independent research. You're only lumped in to ethnic minority-led businesses, quote unquote. Ethnic minority-led business overall contributing 74 billion annually to the UK economy, employing nearly 3 million people. Out of a population of over 60 million, that's quite pathetic. African diaspora businesses report that African-owned and Africa-focused enterprises in the UK are increasing visible and influential spanning professional services, technology, creative industries, retail, restaurants, FMCG, manufacturing, and social enterprises. Back on business directory, they have a business directory. The data gap. The UK does not collect ethnicity data for company directors at companies' houses. So precise totals for African British businesses are not available. Current figures are derived from estimates and AI-based analyses of ownership. And why this matters? In short, African British businesses in the UK contribute a significant share of the 74 billion annual turnover from ethnic minority-led firms, likely amounting to tens of billions of pounds. Would you like me to create a visual breakdown chart showing how they fit within the wider ethnic minority business? Sure. Yes, please do. Create a visual breakdown chart showing how they contribute to the larger, and I'm going to say yes. And it's going to pie chart. And we should be able to estimate it looking at the pie. I'm not even going to. Oh, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. UK ethnic minority business contributions, Afro-British 27%. So now we have 27% estimate of that 74 billion. Other ethnic minorities 32.4%, and South Asian 40.5%. So let's just take that 74 billion pounds and divide that by, or get a percentage of that. So 74 billion times 27% equals 19.98 billion pounds. So that is the closest estimate, the closest estimate of the Afro-Brit economy is 19.98 billion pounds. GDP, gross domestic productivity. So now you have that figure, and I'm not going to go into their consumption figure because it's probably as pathetic as African Americans. For every dollar African Americans spend, ooh, this is getting ugly now. African Americans spend 193.3 trillion. No, that's 193.3 billion. Let me add another zero to that. 193. Bear with me. 193 point. I don't need a point there. I need a comma. 193,300. That's million. More zeros. And there we go to trillion. 1.1 trillion 993 billion dollars annually. Now, divided by, not by, but divided into 1933. I want to divide. What was the figure for African American productivity? 183.3. So, bear with me. I'm going to commit that to memory, clear this, and 183.3 divided by, clear it again, 183.3 1,930,000 divided by memory recall divided by 1,933,000,000. So African American businesses, less than 10%. We produce less than 10% of what we consume. The Afri-Amer, this is very important that we have this. In fact, let me not even put it in there. I'm going to put it in my research notes for today. So we're talking about consumption versus production. Consumption versus production. Where are you at? Behind that at, my dad would say. We're talking about consumer is 193.3 trillion. Production is 183.3 billion. Means that we produce PRODUCE. I can't even type. This is so pathetic. We produce 9.482% of what we consume. We are slaves. We will be forever poor, impoverished, and non-wealthy at these rates. So we're going to change that. So the plan is this, and my conversation I had with my partner today, I said, put me in the game, coach. I need to be on the African continent as soon as possible. Put me in the game, coach. And I'm going to be educating. I will specialize in healthcare, medical services, and mass media and education. Put me in the game, coach. So I will also function as a bridge between the African continent and our family here. A bridge showing us where are the investment opportunities. As quick as I learn about the investment opportunities on the continent, I'm going to send a flag home and say, who wants this one? We found a small business in Nairobi, Kenya, distributing herbal remedies. Who wants a piece of this? Here's their growth pattern. We'll put together all of those, feasibility studies. We can do whatever we will to do, but we got to do something. So I did put up some other figures today, consumption figures, according to the best that I can do with what is available. Afro Brits produce about, 19.98, I think that was it. 19.98 billion pounds in GDP annually. Whew. I'm going to have to go in and clean up these statistics. And nobody's responding. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I believe that you are interested in this. Oh, wait. I have another document I produced today. Let me go in and drive this other document. Well, actually, I went into 2 of my books from previous. And I created, this is from Futurenomics combined with the African future. As stated earlier, the coastline of Africa is 18,950 miles, 30,500 kilometers in length. The land off the coast of a country's coastline is determined to be that nation's exclusive right to exploit marine resources. This area is defined by international treaty as that nation's exclusive economic zone, EEZ. The World Atlas provides the following explanation. Quote, an exclusive economic zone is an area which is beyond and is adjacent to a given land's territorial seas. And, bear with me, transfer this to my other computer, and extends to no more than 200 nautical miles, 370 kilometers, out from a country's own coastlines. It can be seen that if the area for exclusive economic zone is overlapped and is still less than 400 nautical miles, then it falls upon the respective states to delineate the actual boundaries of the coastlines. The area which is under the EEZ of a state gives them full rights to explore and exploit the maritime resources in its adjacent continental shelf and its adjacent continental shelf. Coming out of that quote, we can thus determine, I write, that total square miles of a united African Union would present over 4.36 million in the economic exclusive zone, not compensating for overlap. This represents 37.2% of the total landmass of the continent. Future development of maritime resources stands as an almost infinite basis for wealth production, food sustenance, and other critical sources of job-creating industries. One of the many challenges facing management and development of African marine resources is training a generation of educated, managers, scientists, and technicians. Again, I had to make it a little bit larger. Training a generation of managers, scientists, and technicians to handle this massive resource base. Unfortunately, at this present time, virtually no Africans are managing this massive EEZ. This is evident in such areas as dependence on foreign firms to exploit offshore oil extraction and the gross violation of Somalia's exclusive economic zone. Somalia's waters are overfished, the recipient of toxic waste dumping by foreigners, strangulation of the nation's numerous small fishing enterprises, as well as domination by military forces of nations far removed from their own home shores. Careers in both public and private sectors in marine resource management will be critical in the future. Specializations include marine resources assessment, ecology and marine pollution issues, marine biology, coastal zone management, oil and gas exploration, coastal hazards mitigation, fisheries and aquaculture, marine transportation and wave-generated renewable energy, port management, and coastal tourism development. As soon as possible, Africans, as soon as possible, it will be necessary to raise a large number of us as educators to teach future generations the sciences required for managing the world's marine resources. So that is from the text from the book it's from the book Futurenomics. Here's the book right here if you've never seen it. I haven't sold a copy of Futurenomics in quite some time. And I'm wondering, what's up? What's up? What's up? Can we do better than that? I would love to see more of us with this book in our hands. Futurenomics, positioning your enterprise to win in the new global economy. Excuse me while let me turn off this green screen link. There we go. The title now shows up. Futurenomics, positioning your enterprise to win in the new global economy. I have been citing research from this book, The African Future, and Empowering a United and Prosperous Africa for Future Generations. I did cite that. One paragraph on exclusive economic zones as part of a larger set of strategies for empowering us for all times. I do want to cite also this book, Forged by Fire, Post-COVID African Health, EEZ. Okay, this is entitled Post-COVID African Healthcare and Sovereign Development. And there's a fourth book I want to put in this one, which is something I'm very, very proud of. This one, The Blackest Soil. Africa can feed the world. The Blackest Soil. Africa can feed the world, a scientific roadmap to agricultural prominence for the 21st century. We are in the 21st century. And we want to get all of this done. We want to get as much of this done while still the early part of the 20th century, 21st century. And therefore, I suggest the next 25 years, let's commit, let's double down, let's invest everything we can find in African sustainable sovereign development. We can do whatever we're willing to do, but what are we willing to do? I don't think we're really progressing by creating more Tyler Perry movies. No. In fact, I was looking across my media landscape today, and in Netflix, Tyler Perry now has 3 prominent movies coming up in the top 10. They've never done that for any other black film producer. But Tyler Perry's giving them, I believe, the owners of Netflix, which are not Africans, I believe Tyler Perry is giving them what they want us to be focused on. I want to make a series of documentary films on Africa Rising. We're going to do different. Eddie's not talking to me. For Africa One, the only 2 people apparently tapping in today are not talking to me. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. I want to thank you, if you were there, and you are, and have been listening. I want to thank you for being a part of what we are about. I don't feel I need to apologize for having poor attendance in the audience for today. I don't believe that I necessarily did anything really wrong. But apparently something's going on, and I'm the only one here on the microphone, so we're going to do better. We're going to do better. We are going to do much, much better. So keep your head up. Keep optimistic. Don't give up. Don't give up. Whatever you don't give up. If you're interested in the books today, if you are interested, in the books that I mentioned today, go to http://keidi.biz/CRP 2012 and search for what you need to engage. And that's quite simply, it's everything that I have to put on the table for today. It puts it out here. So let's imagine that we are going to do a much, much better job at all we do for all of us. On your favorite, we aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are living in black.com. So on that note, let's go ahead, hit the bumper music, and we are going to bump our way out of here. It's Friday. Boy, can you imagine how fast this past week has gone? Time is speeding up. Of course, it's relative. And even Einstein's theory of relativity shows that it's only your position. If you are in motion, the faster you are moving, the slower time seems to be going by. If you are stagnant, then time appears stagnant as well. So maybe I've just been too stagnant. And that's why I am perceiving that time is speeding up. So on that note, thank you for tuning into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio. We are LIB TV. We are living in black.com. I wish you all peace and prosperity. We aim to be your favorite. LIB Radio, LIB TV, and living in black.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.